Hey everyone, how's it going? Can you hear me? Are we live? Are we live? We are indeed. Hello everyone, how's it going? Happy Friday. Cheers everyone. Got my usual Friday rum and coke. Lovely jubbly. Good to see you guys. James, welcome. Daisy, Wonk, Mark, Levy, Anthony, Charles. Good to see you guys. Good to see you. I'm very well, thank you. I'm doing very well. Right. Looks like the data's just gone live. So give me 2 seconds just to set this up. And we will be ready to rock and roll. Let's... We can already change scene. Look at this. Look at this. Oh gee, hang on a second. Give me 2 seconds. There might be a slight dropout right now because I haven't actually got my VP1 on. Give me 2 seconds. There might be a slight dropout or slight pause in the connection. So bear with me. Bear with me. Hang on. Why's that not sorted itself out? Oh god, this is a real funky track layout, isn't it? Might have to move you guys back down here where we used to have you. Move that up here. And then we'll have the race control messages, that's what I wanted. Up here. Bosh, there we go. How many rookies are there today? We're about to find out. Well, actually, let's have a look. So we got, and yes, so if you're just joining us, welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well. Hope your week's treated you well. So we have Kimi Antonelli making his first appearance since Monza. Hopefully trying to make it past 2 laps, or actually make 2 laps in the Mercedes, so we'll see. We've got Pato O'Ward. So technically, I think he's already previously done a test in the McLaren, but of course, if you're unfamiliar with Pato O'Ward, he's arguably the most popular IndyCar driver there is. He has such a large following. He is Mexican, and of course, we're at the Mexico Grand Prix, so he is gonna be cheered on throughout this FP1 session. We have Robert Schwartzman, who's an outside chance of getting that last Sauber seat, Stake F1 seat. He is a Sauber Academy driver. Used to be a Ferrari Academy driver, now a Sauber one. We have Felipe Drugovich, the reserve driver for Aston Martin in the Aston today instead of Fernando Alonso. Ollie Bearman, of course, we know, but this time around he's in the he's doing the rookie test for, well, he's doing the rookie practice, shall we say, for Ferrari. Of course, familiar with that car as he did in Saudi earlier on this year. And that is it, I think. I think that is it from my just looking up and down there. So, yeah, lots of interest, of course, will be on not Colapinto, on no doubt Pato O'Ward and Kimi Antonelli. So, but hey everyone, yeah, hope you're doing well. Much appreciated. Good to see you. Good to see you. Yes, baby is doing very well. She's doing very well. So, yeah, happy days. Right. So let me just move that down. That seems to be okay. You guys are kind of a good size. Let's just move you there. Can maybe slightly bigger. Bosh. Really a rock and roll. Just wanted that. Why is that not working? So guys, just trying to sort something out. Robert Schwartzman is SHW. You remember him as a former F2 driver. He was formerly of the Ferrari Academy, but he kind of came through Ferrari at the wrong time, unfortunately. Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel were there. They weren't looking. They kept Kimi Raikkonen on probably a little bit too long, and he was kind of their. He was their reserve driver. Never really got a proper. I think he did some rookie tests, but never really set the world alight. He's done some World Endurance Championship stuff, and yeah, he's still like the Sauber reserve driver, I think. So, hey, Pav, welcome. Lawson's also a rookie this season. Yes, but he's now in a permanent seat, shall we say, temporary permanent seat, isn't he? So Max Verstappen, give me one reason why they should win. Max Verstappen did nothing wrong. What, you want me to go back over what Max Verstappen did wrong last week, Robert? I think we covered it in our post-race Q&A, but basically Max Verstappen exceeded track limits while defending from Lando Norris, which is incorrect or not allowed as per the racing guidelines that the drivers are adhering to. So in that sense, he has made a fouled defensive move, because if he kept it within track limits, while I don't agree and like the current racing rules about being ahead at the apex, he would have been okay as per the rules. There would have been no discussion. That's where George Russell got a penalty, and why Oscar Piastri did as well, because they weren't ahead at the apex and they crowded the driver on the outside out of room. But Max didn't. He let off the brakes, carried too much speed, forced Lando out of room, but he also went off track himself, which is not allowed as per the racing guidelines. So I'm intrigued to see what this additional evidence that McLaren has. Apparently it's going to be 8:30, so it's after this FP1 session is when the first hearing is going to be happening in regards to that appeal. So we'll get details in between this session and the FP2 session. So hopefully we'll have more to bring you after that. But yeah, that's primarily what it is. Don't think they're going to pull you over with Sainz and Verstappen, where basically roles are reversed. Max is in Lando's position and Sainz is Max in essence, and Max regained the position, technically overtook off track, and there wasn't a penalty given. And they might be looking at maybe the application of the rules as well. So we'll see. I mean, Aston Martin previously, there was a touching of the rear wing. Remember that penalty that they got given in the pit lane, or under penalty or something, when they were given a penalty. They didn't actually conduct any work on the car, but they touched the rear wing and they got given a further penalty for it, which cost them points. And then they referred back to a previous race where a penalty for that wasn't given, or an additional penalty, so it was allowed. And then that additional rule that basically then got rescinded, that penalty. So maybe that's what they're going to look back on as well, McLaren. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm intrigued to see exactly what it is. I don't have much faith, because it's the FIA then admitting that they've made a mistake, or their stewards have made a mistake, and it's the stewards admitting they've made a mistake as well, which they might not want to do. So if McLaren was the appeal, then Lando beats Max in the race. Exactly, yes. So what they may do is that they may remove the penalty for consistency because of what happened with Max earlier on in the race, or they may, or a previous example of it happening and no one being given a penalty, or they may give Max a 5-second time penalty for a fouled defense, which I think is what most people's irk is. Like, I don't have an issue really in the fact of, like, Lando overtaking off track is like black and white. Yeah, you can't do that. I don't agree with the fact of it. It's nailed on though, because there's mitigating circumstances of him being forced off track, especially when there is a line in the rules about the defending car has to stay within track limits themselves, and that's what the drivers all have an issue with. You've seen the interviews with the drivers. They're really irked by it. They don't like the racing rules as they currently are, but they're really irked by the fact of it. The defending driver can just send it down the inside, make sure they're ahead at the apex, or lift off the brakes when they're not necessarily ahead at the braking zone, and then they end up then they basically end up just being able to force the other car off the circuit. The biggest example of this, the extreme example of this, of course, is always Brazil 2021. So that shouldn't be allowed. That's not racing. That's not what drivers want, and that's not what fans want. I don't want to see just drivers sending it from that far back and then going, well, I was ahead at the apex regardless. Like, that's not racing, is it? Even in sim racing, that's not racing. That's not what we want. So, but yeah. They're going through the motions. They don't want it to be interfering in another championship. Exactly, Aaron, but we'll see. We'll see. FIA is the only workplace where staff don't have accountability when mistakes are made. You have to go back to racing in the 80s, 90s, where there was none of the stupid rules. A lot of moaning drivers these days. I mean, I wasn't alive in the 80s, and I was very young in the 90s. I'm a 91 baby, so... Right, we're all good. But at the moment, I did run a poll because I was thinking, what poll can I run? Not who's going to win this race, but what's going to happen. And I thought, let's see what people's opinions are of the McLaren appeal. And 68% of you don't have a lot of faith. So I don't have much faith. It all depends on what evidence, additional evidence they're presenting McLaren. So we'll see. Did Max go up trash? Yes, he did, but Lando went past him on the outside, so still overtook us. Yes, however, Gizmo, technically speaking, Max should also receive a 5-second time penalty himself. So the two wrongs don't make a right. So what Lando did was incorrect. Yes, 5-second time penalty. What Max did was incorrect. Also, 5-second time penalty. And then that should mean that they nullify themselves out. That's what I think is the commonplace here. Because Max has failed to keep... You can't then go, well, just because Lando's kept the position off track, that Max doesn't deserve a time penalty himself also. That's my view upon it. So, because then you're basically saying what Max did was correct, although he also broke the racing guidelines as well. So, theory, Red Bull wants to finish third to get that extra testing. Yeah, I think so, Astro. I don't think Red Bull are fussed about the constructors one little bit, because I think there's also, I reckon, Carlos Slim, who is the biggest benefactor and supporter of Sergio Perez. I reckon there's been some deal made there that he will make up the difference in prize money lost by keeping Sergio Perez. I bet you. Both the two drivers should be given penalties. Yeah, that's my opinion, Kofi, as well, yeah. Don't understand why Leclerc and Lando have been subs, because each driver at some point throughout the duration of this season, Omega, has to sit out one practice session for a rookie. So Lance Stroll has had to sit out a practice session at some point or another. So that's just the rule. Have I heard Lewis's comments? Yeah, I have heard Lewis's comments, and I do agree with them. So, but we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully this has really opened the conversation to the racing rules being directed back into more of a position where we don't see this one corner battle and that's it. Like, we want to see drivers go side by side for multiple corners. Like, how much of a buzz do you get seeing drivers go side by side for multiple corners? Especially that section of that sector in COTA. Like, it can promote itself to having drivers go side by side till literally like the last corner. But that's the nature of it. That's what we want to see. That's the buzz we get. But we're devoid of that at the moment because of the way that the rules are. And look, I said it in my video. On one hand, I don't blame Max whatsoever. He came in with a driving style that has been allowed to continue. That's not his fault. If he's told he can't do something, but it's down to the FIA and the stewards to tell him, no, that's not how we go racing. You may have done that in the juniors. You don't get away with it here in F1. But then the rules have been allowed to accommodate the way that he goes racing. And that's not his fault. I don't like it, but that's not his fault, is it? And he's going to continue to do that. And as Lando said, there is no one better at racing the way that the rules are currently laid out than Max Verstappen, because they've been accommodated for him. That's not his fault at the end of the day. So, but here we go. Practice is underway. FP1 here at the Mexico Grand Prix. We have a number of rookies here. We have Pato O'Ward. We have Robert Schwartzman. We have Kimi Antonelli. Let's see how Kimi Antonelli gets on. Can he make it longer than 1.5 laps or 1 3/4 laps than he did last time out at Monza? Mercedes driver for next year. So no doubt he will. No doubt he will. Remember that race many years ago with Jules Villeneuve side by side for so long? Exactly, and that's what we want to see. I mean, exactly as like in sim racing as well. Like the buzz you get going side by side for so many corners. We're underway, yes. Rules of Rules. Max was in front of the apex. You don't get a penalty for going off the track. You should do, however, give me a break. You should do, because there is a rule in the guidelines that states the defensive driver must stay within track limits when defending. So Max didn't in that exact defense. So, and actually, I don't want to talk too much longer about Kota, but if you look back at turn 1, there is an angle looking back up the hill, and Max actually exceeds track limits at turn 1 as well. I thought he didn't, but it looks like he does as well. And really, he should have given the position back to Lando at turn 1. So there's a couple of times there. I think there's 3 times really that Max got away without being given penalties, or being forced to give a position back or whatever. So hey ho, look, it is what it is. We'll see what McLaren does in their appeal this afternoon. Well, in between this and the next session. So why is Hamilton not in the Ferrari this session? Yeah. We had looping stuff up that we accepted during Max Ham, but now we're like, yeah, look, I wasn't happy about the way that Max went racing in 2021. And Lewis rightly called it out as well and said he was complaining about this back in 21, and now it seems to be people are taking it a bit more seriously. I don't know. But will anything change? I still don't have any anticipation or expectation that the racing rules will change, but we'll see. We'll see. Strangely, same people complained about boring races. Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is though, is that that battle could have gone on for even longer if racing room is allowed. You know, like how good was that fight? And Max's defense up until that point was brilliant as well. He was positioning the car very well. He had the measure of Lando, and then when it came to that moment, yeah, I mean, we just want to see cars being given fair racing room, don't we? So. Yes, Pato O'Ward. I mean, he's going to gain. I mean, there's going to be so much fanfare over Pato O'Ward. I mean, if Red Bull want to replace a Mexican with another Mexican, and they don't want to lose out on that merch, that they bring in, that merch revenue, Pato O'Ward, man. Bring Pato O'Ward in. He's a proper character as well, and he's young enough. So... has anyone watched the IndyCar Drive to Survive show? Quite interesting. You do realise how much Pato O'Ward is you do realise how much Pato O'Ward is supported. Like he's one of the biggest. He is probably, I think, the biggest racing driver outside of F1. What do you think, guys? Do you think? I think he's the most well supported racing driver outside of F1. Like he's massive, absolutely massive. Have we had any of the up-and-coming female drivers on Friday FP1 sessions, like Jamie Chadwick or the one from Aston, I think Jess Hawkins? Not yet, Swim. Not yet. Oh, red flag? Why is there a red flag? There's no car. Every car is moving. Why is there a red flag? I've got the TV coverage on. Why is there a red flag? Apologies if that was a bit loud in your ears, guys, but it looks like, unless someone's gone into the wall and actually had a crash, or maybe this is just, of course, we know that the FIA likes to throw a red flag quite early sometimes when a driver has had an off. So maybe that's what's happened. The driver has had an off, and that's why the red flag's been thrown. Who is Drew Drogovic? Felipe Drogovic. He is the former F2. Did he win F2, guys, or was he just? He raced in F2. I know he raced in F2, but he definitely raced in F2, and he's the reserve driver for Aston Martin. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, JM. Red flag's been thrown, so my TV coverage is now caught up. Every car is making it back to the pit lane. So there's a safety reason. Oh my god, it's like the smallest bit of debris. Oh my god, it's the smallest bit of debris down the start-finish straight. So a little bit of debris has fallen out on circuit. I mean, I get it, it's down the start-finish straight, but maybe they could have just thrown a VSC for that. That's a bit like unnecessary if you ask me, but hang on. Just watching exactly what it is. So Kimi Antonelli actually ran over it, and it hit the underside of the of the Mercedes floor. So maybe they've done damage to George Russell's car there in Kimi Antonelli. Oh, just waiting to see if there's any damage to the floor of George Russell's car. That won't be great, would it? OWA is Pato Award. Is it Lewis's car? Oh, it is Lewis's car. Oh no. Yeah, Kimi again, but to be fair, Kimi was just going in a straight line. It is the smallest bit of debris, literally, but the smallest bit of debris could do the largest amount of damage. So, TC, what did you say? You said great Q&A video, by the way. Love your analysis. Thank you, man. Thank you. Sorry, going back to the female drivers. Yes, none of the female drivers yet are in a position where they're a reserve driver. No one is. I would say if you look at F1 Academy and if you look at other female drivers that are in other motorsport series at the moment, no one is really kind of standing out. I think that's the issue. It's not so much the fact of that they're female. It's the fact of that they're just no one's quite quick enough yet. Jamie Chadwick, of course, dominated the W series, didn't she? But no one since then has really. I mean, no one has really like been ahead at, say, in F3 level, or been at the front in regards to F3 level or F2 level. So until that arrives, I don't think an F1 team will have any qualms in putting a female driver in. It's mainly just pace at the moment. If the timesheets don't lie, if you're setting the lap times, I think you'll end up in F1. And also there's a duty of care as well. You've got to realise that the first female driver to be in F1, there's going to be a lot of scrutiny. There's going to be a lot of criticism from people online and people that just want to hate for hating at the end of the day. And whoever puts the first female driver in F1 needs to ensure that, I think, as a duty of care, that they are quick enough and that they can handle themselves and that they're prepared for that. Because unfortunately, the real world isn't a nice place. So, hey, John, good, thank you. Is that rum and coke, Doctor? Yeah, rum and coke. Bit of Kraken. Love a bit of Kraken. FIA, no, the fastest point is being removed next year, Mitch. So it still counts for the remainder of this year. So, the Perini Susie Wolf. Back in the day. Ellis Stevens is very competitive UK car in Europe. I think it's another generation until we get a female driver. Yeah, I think, look, strength, of course, has always been a big reason for it. But I think now with the advancements of sports science and personal fitness and stuff, like in training regimens, female drivers can be strong enough to drive an F1 car, 100%. It's just about pace. And the thing is that I think you have to look at it at more of a grassroots level. F1 is very expensive. I mean, motorsport is very expensive from a karting level all the way up. I think F3 is like £1 million a year. You need at least backing of like £3 million or £2 million a year to be in F2. So that's a lot of money, a lot of sponsorship backing that is required for like even like just junior level racing. And as well, like, it also comes down to the fact of that motorsport, the pool of it's the same with like golf. So I used to be a professional golfer, and thankfully golf is a lot more popular in women now. And I will plan on my own daughter getting into golf. But there's a time where it was just the women's game just wasn't really that popular, and it wasn't something that men got their daughters into. The same in motorsports, but that's now changing. So I do think it's a couple of, maybe another generation away. You're correct in regards to women getting into motorsport, because it's now that men are starting to bring their daughters into motorsport. But then you've also got how expensive the sport is at grassroots. That makes the pool of women even smaller, which then means that we could be waiting a long time until that one woman is quick enough to make it into F1. So there are a couple of women who got to see it in other sports cars, look at stock cars. Yes, no, definitely. And I'm not saying that there aren't talented women and fast women out there in other motorsport series, but of course F1 is very different to any other motorsport series, isn't it? So, and it's the most expensive routes in motorsport as well. So, yeah. Oh, no, Michelle Muto. I actually don't know who that name is, Davina. No one has been as competitive as she was. Pat Moss Dennis is a very fast rally driver. Yeah. Yeah, so I think especially now with the advancements of sports science and stuff, the whole physical limitation of being a woman is gone. So it's like women can definitely train their bodies to be to handle the G-forces that F1 cars put out, and maybe the power steering as well. Also, sorry, the lack of power steering is in F2 and F3. But yeah, it's just the fact of it's kind of like a percentages thing, really. Like, you've really got a small percentage of people racing in motorsports because of how expensive it is, and then that gets even smaller because then the amount of people that can afford to put their kids through motorsport, the amount of them that have got daughters is smaller, and then yeah, so that pool of getting that one female or a couple of females who are quick enough to make it through the junior ranks, and then they still need to like get across those hurdles, it's just so small. So yeah, but the main issue is the fact that motorsport's too expensive. Simple as, really. You love golf, TC. Bryson and Nelly Calder are your favourite players. Nice. Yeah, I wish Bryson was back on the PGA Tour. I'm not a fan of live golf. So Chadwick best be strong enough. She's trying to wrangle an IndyCar test. They have no power steering. Yeah, no, Jamie Chadwick is very good. She's done all right, actually, in the Indy NXT, isn't she? So, yeah, maybe we'll see her in the future in IndyCar. Testosterone is important, especially on a sport 1 on 5 margins. Yes, Davina, I do to an extent. But I think testosterone primarily comes down to the strength elements. I think if you're looking from a mental aspect and reactionary element of things, I think females have exactly the same. I think once you get to F1, I think actually here I am, a couch fan, saying F1's easy to drive. But I think once you've got over the hurdle of driving F3 and F2, I think driving an F1 car is quite simple, really. I think that's why we're seeing the likes of Ollie Bearman, the likes of Antonelli, the likes of some of these youngsters making a step up now and actually being on pace pretty quickly, Colapinto, because F2 and wrestling an F3 and F2 car around is more difficult than it is than driving an F1 car. It's just the fact that an F1 car has more speed and you have more braking capability, and getting used to that. Once you've got used to that, it's quite easy. It's getting over the hurdles of the junior formulas where it's very competitive, not to say F1 isn't, but where it's very competitive in F3 and F2, and trying to stand out, get that drive in F1. If you could do that, then I think you've got a great chance. And I think yeah, maybe in the next 10, 15 years we'll see a female driver, but a lot of it depends on development as well, doesn't it? Like if you develop early and you've got the strength and so forth. So, is this a race? It's a normal race weekend, Johnny. Normal race weekend. We have a sprint race next weekend in Brazil, Interlagos, triple header. But at the moment, everyone's on the hard compound tyre. So generally, this race, we've seen it be a 2-stop in the past, but we've seen the 1-stop work. I think Red Bull really made the 1-stop work last year. They adapted on the fly. So. But Antonelli, round of applause in the chat, guys. Kimi Antonelli has made it past 2 laps. He's currently 4 laps on the hard compound tyre. So well done, Kimi Antonelli. Well done. Problem is, the teams, they might not take them for fans if it would not be at most likely the sponsorship they have. Beaten by females who just were better. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What is the equivalent of Driver Academy? What, in F2? Or what, of the F1 Academy, you mean? No, F1 Academy is more F4 level. I don't even think it's F3. Oh, we have a yellow flag, briefly. I think Liam Lawson went through turn 1 there, as we see drivers do quite often. That's obviously it's a very long straight here in Mexico, and we see lockups down into turn 1. Interestingly, they've shortened the DRS this year. Not sure I agree with that. I'm not sure if that's going to have a positive or negative effect. We'll see. No, we'll leave this one running for the time being, Dodal. So many great young drivers waiting to get in. Isn't it time to allow 2 more teams? I couldn't agree with you more, Davina. Couldn't agree with you more. However, Liberty Media wanted to be a franchise model. At the moment, the value of the current F1 teams is increasing, so the other teams don't want their business, their product to be devalued. The more you have of something, the more devalued it becomes, because you're diluting that product. So yeah, ultimately the teams that are on the grid at the moment don't want any more teams. That's why you've heard Zach Brown, that's why you heard Gunther Steiner, when he was still team principal of Haas, be opposed to Andretti joining. And that's because their owners ultimately are seeing the value of their companies increase. So they're all becoming more profitable, more lucrative, and that's how they want to keep it, which is a real shame because, yeah, we're kind of devoid of talent. But we're now, thankfully, the teams are starting to see the likes of Colapinto, the likes of Antonelli, the likes of Ollie Bearman, the youngsters being given an opportunity, take it and realise, actually, we're better off giving some of these youngsters an opportunity rather than keeping on to the old guard. About Zane Maloney in F2, do you see him getting into F1? I'd love to see him in F1, Ian. I think he's a Sauber Academy driver, isn't he, Zane Maloney? So I'd love to see him get an opportunity in Sauber. I'd love, really, that second Sauber seat next year to be given to a youngster. Whether they would keep their seat for when Audi officially take over, I don't know. But at least give a youngster an opportunity to get some experience in F1. He is indeed a Sauber... Is he a Sauber junior driver? Yes, he is technically the reserve driver for Stake F1. So I'm quite surprised, actually, that Schwartzman is in the car. Huh. But yeah, I'd love to see him. So Greedy's stopping the sport progressing. Yeah, Doctor. Welcome to real life, unfortunately. Welcome to real life, yeah. Money makes the world go round. It definitely makes cars go around a racetrack in F1, that's for sure. Goodness you, Williams on top. Yeah. Well, Williams are quick in a straight line. They are quick in a straight line. Well, it's an interesting circuit, this one, guys. So a little bit of a fun fact for you, if you're unaware. So we always run at Monaco the highest downforce setup that you possibly can. So you see the big rear wings, the massive downforce package. Because of the high altitude, it's the highest altitude that we have a race at. I think it's over 2,000 meters above sea level here at Mexico. There's like 27% less air density here in Mexico than there is at a standard European race. And because of that, it means that there's less drag, there's less air to head into to stop the cars from moving forward. So they're running the same rear wings, the same downforce package that you see at Monaco, yet they still reach speeds of around 230, 40 miles an hour down the main straight with DRS. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Is Alonso okay? I actually haven't seen anything about Alonso. We'll find out in FP2. Of course, he was ill yesterday. He didn't do any media commitments. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. He's obviously... Drogovic, it maybe took a bit of an extra time to try and get over a bit of illness because Drogovic has taken his car. I mean, to be honest with you, I think Fernando Alonso is suffering from "they raced me too hard"itis after Liam. He called it off of Liam Lawson last week. We put Monza downforce. Yeah, imagine we had Monza downforce. The speeds they'd get right down the back straight. The problem is they probably wouldn't be able to stop Taco. Zane Maloney's going to Formula E. Oh, that's a real shame, Jamal, if he is going to Formula E. That is a real shame. Hopefully not, but... The boy from Barbados who could get me some good rum. Most definitely. I'll definitely shout him out for some more rum. Will F1 become a speed racer? No, I don't think so. It's wild to think Porsche doesn't get promotion to F1 yet. Bottas, Perez, Stroll, Magnussen are here in Mexico. Yeah, I mean, it's that balance, isn't it, of what the top teams want. I mean, I get why they signed Bottas, because Bottas was like the experienced driver who's just come from a top team of Mercedes, and then you had, and then you've got Zhou Guanyu, who is the driver who apparently Zhou Guanyu brings in 30 million in sponsorship. I don't know if that's true or not. That is the figure that I've seen branded around. And it still might not be enough to keep him at that team for next year. So, yeah, I get that's like you have an experienced driver, then you have a younger driver. But, yeah, now it's getting to the point where, what do they do? But then they're kind of in a bit of no man's land for next season. I mean, Hulkenberg, is that an Audi signing or was that a Stake F1 signing? You'd like to think that for Hulkenberg to leave Haas, he's been signed by Audi and he's definitely going to be there in 2026. But it's who's going to be alongside him. I think you've got to go for a younger driver, especially with the likes of Colapinto, with the likes of... we've seen Ollie Bearman make like Lawson as well. Like they've stepped up into F1 and they've had an impact. Like if they don't promote someone from their junior academy and they go for Bortoleto or they go for Colapinto, as much as I love Colapinto and I think Bortoleto is going to be a great driver, what is the point of having your own driver academy? Like, what is the point? You might as well just fold the whole thing, because if you're going to another team to get their junior driver, who I can't imagine McLaren will want to let Bortoleto go, and I can't imagine Williams will want to let Colapinto go, you're just then training another team's driver. So, double yellow. Alex Albon, has he crashed? That's a double yellow, which is serious. We've seen drivers go off through. And yes, we have a red flag, a second this time around, which seems not for debris, but for a crash for Alex Albon. And whoa, the pressure for the tyre driver. I still see him as half British, of course he is. But Alex Albon, the pressure is truly on. He is getting absolutely showed up by Colapinto at the moment. And well, Alex Albon has now binned it. And it seems Ollie Bearman is off as well. Have we seen two drivers collide here in FP1? Surely not. Surely we haven't seen two drivers collide here at FP1. Or have they both gone off? Has Alex Albon avoided Bearman, or has Bearman avoided Albon there? And that's why he's crashed. Oh no, let's see. Of course, this is Charles Leclerc's car, ladies and gentlemen. And there is definitely a driver in the wall, which is Alex Albon. Alex Albon's binned it. Alex Albon's definitely binned it, and Ollie Bearman's got a broken left suspension, or at least a flat tyre. So I wonder, what's happened there? Has Albon collided with Bearman? I'm trying to find out exactly what's happened, guys. So Ollie Bearman's car is okay, Charles Leclerc's car, so it will be repairable. But what about Alex Albon? Well, Alex Albon's definitely binned it. That's for sure. And, of course, as we mentioned, the pressure is definitely on Alex Albon at the moment and not looking good for him, being shown up by his teammate Colapinto. And, well, this is not a good start to his weekend. So let's see what's happened. Has Alex Albon understeered into Ollie Bearman and clipped him? That's kind of that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. Yeah, left front Ollie Bearman is basically flat tyre, probably broken front left suspension. But Alex Albon's definitely in the barrier. Ollie Bearman looks like he might have been clipped by Alex Albon. I'm still waiting to see a replay of it. Yeah, that caught me by surprise as well, Taco. I'm not a fan of the yellow on the Williams livery this weekend, guys. Just search it out on Twitter to see exactly what I'm talking about. But that's very, very interesting. So Alex Albon is moving, he's okay, so is Ollie Bearman. But they've crashed there in the S's, and it looks like it's been car contact in FP1. Is Ollie Bearman not checking his mirrors, or has Alex Albon just understeered and made an error with the dirty air? Even with cars going slowly, they're still travelling at like 60 miles an hour, 70 miles an hour through these corners. But of course, Alex Albon's going like 120, 140 miles an hour. I'm waiting to see it, Taco. You must have seen it already. Albon lost it and hit him. Okay, there we go. Replay. Alex Albon entering the S's. Ollie Bearman's ahead. Oh, he's lost it off the curb. Alex Albon, probably with a bit of dirty air, lost it off the curb as Ollie Bearman was moved over off the racing line to let Alex Albon through. And Albon has made an error and gone straight into the side of Ollie Bearman. He lost the rear. tank swapper. He did control it, but it seems Alex Albon caught out there by the dirty air and getting on the curb. I'm going to say the majority of that is probably off the curb. I mean, Karun's saying they didn't expect to see Ollie Bearman there, but he's got on the curb too heavily, Alex Albon. Yeah. Alex Albon's already losing it off the curb. He carried too much speed over the curb. He's carried too much speed over the curb. There's nothing Ollie Bearman could do. I mean, where else are you supposed to let him through, to be honest with you? He's off the racing line. So that is... I mean, or could Ollie Bearman have gone through that, actually? I'd like to see that again, actually. I think maybe, actually, Ollie Bearman probably should have just gone through and let Alex Albon through down to turn 12. So maybe a bit of naivety there from, or inexperience, shall we say, from Ollie Bearman, lifting off where he did. I mean, a dirty air definitely would have contributed to Alex Albon there, but he did carry a lot of speed. He did carry a lot of curb on the entry to turn 9, sorry, on the inside. But that, you don't often see that, do you guys? You don't often see that. Hey, Snow, good to see you. Albon's starting to drive like his Red Bull days. Well, this is the thing about Albon, and I'm a fan of Albon, but you have to realise the man has driven without any sort of pressure on him for the last 2 years. He had Nicholas Latifi, he had Logan Sargent as his teammates, and Colapinto's come in and he's taken all of the limelight, understandably. So we saw Albon under pressure in Red Bull. He did fold under the pressure at Red Bull. And are we now seeing that again from Albon? Is he a driver that just doesn't do well under pressure? So, yeah, not a good start to his weekend. We'll see. We'll see, obviously, if they can get that car repaired. I don't think they'll get that repaired for FP2. We'll see if they can get that repaired for tomorrow. Will he have to take any penalties? Gearbox potentially may have been damaged there. Power unit. But, yeah, that's a fair old whack for him. So, the cause of the collision has been noted. Ollie Bearman, they'll see whether or not if he caused that incident. I think actually, Ollie probably, I mean, it depends if Ollie was on an out lap. I think Ollie maybe was on a slow down lap. We've seen drivers be let through there for the S's before, so... Donny Colapinto is racing well. He's confident and he's already in commission. Colapinto is such a breath of fresh air to F1. It's brilliant. So... Vamos, Miguel! Checo! Yes, hopefully Checo does do well this weekend. Hopefully. You'd like to think so. You'd like to think so. Hopefully he doesn't lose it at turn 1 this weekend. Of course, he went all or nothing last year, didn't he? So... Still shot signs heading for Williams. Brave taking him out of himself. Well, the thing is with... So he's not taking himself out of championship contention. The problem with Sainz is that he did hang around for a top-level seat. So Williams is basically the best of... Not the best of a bad... basically, the best of what was remaining on offer to him. So he ultimately wanted to stick around for a Mercedes seat or a Red Bull seat. Red Bull and Mercedes ended up... I think Mercedes hung him out for too long, really. I think they left a dangling carrot there for him for too long. And eventually they went with Kimi Antonelli. And then he signed with Williams. Williams is the best of the rest, isn't it, really? He had Alpine on offer. He had the Audi seat on offer, the Stake F1 seat, which pretty much guarantees you're going to be racing towards the back of the grid next year. So, yeah. I mean, you can see what you've seen what Colapinto's been able to do in that car. There's nothing to say. I do rate Sainz higher than Albon. So, Albon is Mr. Oh my God, they're racing me so hard, but I like the guy. Yeah, he's a likeable guy, and I want him to do well. But at the moment, he's not having a good end to the season. So... Still, the way Colapinto is driving the Williams means Sainz on a good day can put the car up on the grid. They're improving, yeah. Hey, Karam, I'm very good, thank you. Red flag is because Alex Albon has just crashed into Ollie Bearman. Ollie Bearman was off the racing line in the S's, and I think it caught Alex Albon out with a dirty air, and Alex Albon also went over the curb. He carried too much. He was over the curb. He took too much curb, really, and that's why. And he caught Ollie Ollie Bearman broke Ollie Bearman's front left suspension, and Alex Albon was in the wall. So, yeah. Right, guys, I just did a quick loo break while we have 29 minutes rest of this FP1. Hopefully, they'll be able to remove Alex Albon's car pretty sharpish and Ollie Bearman's, and we can get FP1 under away. Back in 2 secs. Oh, we're back. We're back. Woo. So, FYI, Robert Schwartzman being investigated for overtaking under the yellows is that should be thrown out. He overtook Ollie Bearman as Ollie Bearman was slowing down and pulling over. So, if Schwartzman, if Stake F1 get penalised for that, that's ridiculous at the end of the day. So, kindly move subscribers bar and minimise it. I want you guys to get me to 31,000 subscribers. Because you asked nicely, I'll minimise it slightly. But Winnie, if you haven't subscribed yet, I'm looking at you. But thank you everyone for keep tuning into these F1 watch-alongs, by the way. FP1, we've got FP2 later on, so hopefully we'll have some information on the McLaren appeal to discuss. It's a longer FP2, FP1, we're in FP1 now. We have a longer FP2 later on, an hour and a half, 90 minutes, because they have to conduct the Pirelli tyre test, which is a bit meh, unfortunately. But we'll still go live nonetheless, just so that we can chat F1 and you can throw some questions my way. FP2 is at 11 o'clock UK time, I believe. Let me just double check that. I think it is 11 o'clock UK time. Yes, 11 o'clock UK time. So I'll be live 15 minutes beforehand, as always. So be sure to turn your notifications on so you get notified of when I go live, or I'm going live. So many rookies on track, something will happen. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't think there was too much untoward there. It wasn't like Ollie Bearman was doing anything stupid, but maybe he could have maybe he could have kept his foot in it and gone down turn 11 and 12. So, you know, people keep saying Haas are going to be slow. I don't know why Haas. Who says Haas are going to be slow? I said Haas were going to be slow at the start of the season. How wrong I've been. But yeah. No worries, Levy, no worries. Let's have Bridgestone and Goodyear back in the rubber running. Yeah. Typical low IR move. Yeah, maybe it obviously had good intentions, but maybe decided to let Albon through in the wrong place. So, session will resume at 6 minutes past the hour, which is literally less than 1 minute, guys. Less than 1 minute. You're talking seconds. So FP1 track is clear. So the session will get underway in a couple of seconds. So just watching the replay now of Alex Albon, which is what happened. So he was approaching Ollie Bearman. It's... So Albon lifted off the throttle, which means he would have lost downforce. He would have lost performance, especially as he was heading into the dirty air of Ollie Bearman. I mean, it does look like Albon does cover too much curb. It does look like he covers too much curb. It's just a real unfortunate position. Bearman's on a slow lap. Bearman is off the racing line, bearing in mind. So, yeah. But I know why. I do get why Albon lifted, but it didn't help. It didn't help, so. You got a model of Alonso's Aston Martin AMR2. 23p. Nice, nice. There we go, green lights. There we go. I missed the green light going away. And we have, soft compound tyres out there, guys. So maybe we'll see some quick laps. Maybe we will see some quick laps. So can Ferrari continue their good performance from last year and from last race? They actually were quite good here last year after being very poor the previous season before that, 2022. Of course, Mercedes, can they improve? With Pato O'Ward, of course, at the moment, down in 17th. And we have Antonelli out there again with George Russell at the top of the timing sheets in P2. Teammates for next season. Get used to seeing Ant on there. Do I think we'll see a sub 116 in quali? I don't know. Let's have a check of what last season. So on average, the cars have been around a second quicker this year than last year. I don't know what the fastest. Well, we'll have a look. I think last year was fastest. I think last year was fastest. So go to 2023 result. So last year qualifying. So yes, on average they've been about a second a lap quicker in qualifying. So a 1:17.166 was fastest in Q3 last year. So yes, I do think we'll see a 1:16. Yeah, I do. Maybe a 1:15. Depends on the track conditions. So. All the time you have to leave the space, yeah. Best watch along, Bevo. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, I do like to think that we do things slightly differently here to others. I mean, not that I pay too much attention to other watch-alongs, because I think, while of course you can have a look and research other watch-alongs to see what you can maybe do better, and to see what other people were doing, which I do to an extent. I think what I do here is also unique, and I don't think you get it anywhere else. They should let Lewis test the Ferrari. Next year. Not long. We don't have long to wait until we see Lewis in red. But who's out there at the moment? We only have Albon, of course, we know is out. Bearman is out. And Pato O'Ward as well, which is a bit of a shame. Down there in 17th. But soft compound tyres, so let's have a look. Let's see how George Russell gets on. So he's fastest in the first sector, George Russell. And Sainz is fastest in the second sector as they head into the stadium section, the last sector, which, to be honest, just ruins the whole circuit. Absolutely ruins the whole circuit, the stadium. It's very gimmicky, isn't it? I'll tell you what, I'm going to run a poll. That's what my next poll is going to be. So not many of you have faith in McLaren, that's for sure. But let's have a look at... Oh, why can't I do that? Hang on. The next poll is... this, if I can spell correctly. Do you like the stadium section at Mexico? Because I don't. I actually don't. I think it ruins the racing. I think it ruins the flow of the circuit, and would be much better if we had the old corner, which was from turn 12 to turn 16. That would line up more overtakes down to the first corner than we currently do now. That's just my opinion. I actually commentated. I was like, oh, thank you, man. I did see your comment, actually, because I do watch back my watch-alongs, and I like to see, obviously, what you guys have said during the week. I watch them back. And, yeah, I did see your comment, actually, Ken. Oh, it's nice to find a channel that actually commentates. So, yeah, thank you, man. Thank you. Or we could just use the oval layout. So, George Russell went fastest there, 1:17.998. So, FP1, we have seen FP1 sessions, by the way, and free practice sessions already get lower than the pole position of last year. That's how quick these cars have got. So, yeah, we'll see, of course, if George Russell is on the old spec parts. We know that the old spec parts of the Mercedes worked well last week compared to the new spec parts, which are on Lewis Hamilton's car. Of course, Lewis Hamilton won't be driving until FP2 because of Antonelli currently in his car, so... Is Award not coming back out? I don't know, Last. And I am surprised he isn't back out yet, unless there's an issue with the car. Or maybe they're making some setup changes. So just watching an onboard of Colapinto. What happened here is he was heading down into turn 12. And he had a snap of oversteer. Oh, wow, he had a big snap of oversteer into turn 12. If you were there live, yes, John. However, it ruins the racing. It does ruin the racing. I cannot believe 57% of you say you like the stadium section of Mexico. Unbelievable. When was Ollie Bearman racing here? He was racing. Well, he wasn't racing here. He was doing the FP1 session as part of the rookie test, but Alex Albon crashed into him. So yeah. Which midfield team do I think will be best this weekend? I think it's gonna be between Haas and RB, actually. Because if you remember last year, RB went very well here last year. Daniel Ricciardo stuck it 4th in qualifying, wasn't it? I think it was 4th in qualifying he stuck it. It was, yeah. So Daniel Ricciardo stuck it on 4th. And there was a point where Yuki Tsunoda was like 6th in the race, like 7th. And he went for a ridiculous overtake. Didn't think about self-preservation, and he ended up finishing outside of the points. I think he caused himself damage, or he went off track, and yeah, just threw away a great points result last year. So I think RB will be strong, especially with Liam Lawson having the new power unit in there. That's primarily why he did. I'm not taking anything away from Liam Lawson, because it was a great result for him last week. However, he did have a brand new power unit in the car, so that always helps at this stage of the season. That will help again here this weekend. And yeah, I think Yuki will do well also. And we know how strong Haas have been. They could have had double points finishing the sprint race last week and in the race itself if it wasn't Kevin Magnussen having a issue with one of his tyres or something, like a slow puncture, which made him pit out of the points positions, and he finished in 11th. So yeah, I'm intrigued to see that battle between Haas and RB, and there's only like 3 or 4 points separating them in the constructors at the moment, so very close. So if you're wondering who OWA is, that is Pato O'Ward. He is a Mexican IndyCar driver. He is probably, and I know obviously if you're asking the question you don't know, but he is probably arguably the most popular driver outside of F1. Like, he is absolutely massive. He has such a big following. So that, of course, is this being the Mexico Grand Prix. He has done tests, I think, in F1 before, maybe once or twice. So he's still quite young, actually. He's been around for quite a few years. And then Drogovic, DRU is Felipe Drogovic. BEA is Bearman. SHW is Robert Schwartzman. He is a former Ferrari Academy driver, and he is now a Sauber driver or Academy driver. I think he's their reserve driver also. Ant, of course, is Antonelli, and that is it for the rookies. Bring back the old Perotolda. Yes, I agree, Phil. I agree. Bring back Perotolda. If anyone's wondering what that is basically the old corner, which was from turn 12 to 16, removing the stadium section. So, silly why Oscar didn't sit out. Norris needs to try because you have to. There's the rule in place, Wonk, is that you have to at least one session throughout the season. Every driver has to give up their car to a rookie. Stadium section is here. Basically, this section here. So as they enter turn 13, it like starts where the number of 14 is. It starts where my arrow is, my mouse, and it runs round here and here, and then they go through like kind of like a tunnel, like an underpass through turn 16. So it covers this section here, and it just ruins the flow of the circuit. To be honest, just ruins the flow of the circuit because lots of drivers get oversteer. They get the dirty air through turn 13. They can't get the power down quick enough. And then they go through turn 16 and they get so much understeer. The rears really take a battering and they just can't stay close enough. And also the FIA have reduced the... Oh, hang on. They've reduced the DRS this year, which I don't know, baffles me. Because it's with the high altitude we have here, it's less effective anyway. So I don't understand why they've shortened it to make it less effective. Hopefully I'm wrong, and actually it does well, but... I feel like Oscar Piastri is no longer giving his best because there's no point anymore. Maybe. We'll see. You agree with my opinion on the stadium section? Yeah, it just ruins the flow, man. It just ruins the flow. I mean, when have we seen an overtake into turn 13? Like, in the stadium section. Like, when have we seen one? We haven't. Like, once in a blue moon. We hardly see any I mean, there's DRS down from turn 11 to turn 12, down that little short stretch, but there's never any overtakes down into turn 12. The only time there's ever an overtake through turn 12 is if someone has a snap of oversteer through the exit of turn 12. But yeah, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I hope you all tune in on Sunday. But this isn't the most exciting race of the season. It's probably... I would say it's probably, after Monaco, the next boring race of the season. I think. Let me know what you guys think. But yeah, it's never really that exciting, unfortunately. We need safety cars. That's primarily what we need. We need race restarts because there's always drama down into turn 1 with the long run that there is. So, have I ever raced in sim race on any other racing game and the lap just gets ruined by the stadium? No, I haven't. I don't really race the F1 games, but I've watched enough races around here to know that the flow of the circuit is ruined by the stadium section, and to see how many overtakes don't happen down into turn 1 due to the slow nature of the stadium section. It's meant to be a chat. It pretty much is, David. I mean, to be honest with you, once Checo leaves F1, this track won't be on the calendar anymore. That is a hard reality. I think the same with Zandvoort. Zandvoort, once Max leaves F1, that won't be on the calendar anymore. There are a couple of tracks on the calendar that are there purely due for fan service because of the support they get for certain drivers. I mean, that's the rumour, isn't it? That's the conspiracy, shall we say, that the FIA contacted Red Bull and made a plea not to get rid of Sergio Perez in the summer break for Daniel Ricciardo because it would affect sales at the Mexico Grand Prix. Because if you're not aware, guys, Sergio Perez is probably in the top 3 of the most supported drivers in F1. His merch sales are around 75% of Red Bull. If you go anywhere to Asia as well, and I have this not firsthand, I have this from people firsthand, this is secondhand, that they see so much Sergio Perez merch in Asia, which they found a bit strange, but he's very well supported out there as well. And last year, when he crashed in the first corner, people reported that around 50% of the grandstands emptied. Every single grandstand, 50% of it emptied because they were there to support Sergio Perez and they weren't interested in the remainder of the race. Of course, Liberty kind of don't care because they've already got the price, they've already got the money for the tickets, but that is how well supported he is here at Mexico, so, and across the world. There could be rain somewhere. If there's rain, that'd be amazing. I don't think we've ever had rain here at Mexico, have we? In a race? Have we? I don't think we have. Look at Germany, Schumacher numbers fell away after he left F1. Yeah, and Sebastian Vettel as well. That's primarily why we don't have a race in Germany anymore, which is a real shame because the circuits there, Hockenheim and the Nürburgring, Nürburgring? Technically it's Nürburgring, isn't it? It's not Nordschleife. They're great racing circuits, but because we don't have a German driver in F1 at the moment, they see the lack of TV coverage as an issue. Yet people would flock. There's enough F1 fans that would flock to Germany for how cheaper flights you can get as well, but would flock to Germany to watch those races in real life. So Perez is probably because people we spoke, Boone. We kind of spoke. I don't want to go over it too much, mate, because we spoke about it at the start of the stream, and I did a Q&A video on it as well, where I kind of outlined my opinion on it all. Look, I think I'm going to kind of reserve. Tune in for FP2, mate, which will be live, because hopefully we'll have a result of the appeal from McLaren, which they're currently making. I think it's an hour after this session finishes. So in between FP1 and FP2, McLaren are going to have their first hearing with the FIA and the stewards about their appeal. So we'll discuss it more on that. But ultimately, let's just say, short answer, not a fan. That's what I'm going to say about the whole scenario. How has Pato looked? Now he's actually out on the soft compound tyre. Yeah, not too bad. Yeah, not too bad. Thankfully, he got out there again. Pato Award. They were making some changes to the car, evidently. So, yeah, all good. Leo, thank you for the $5 Canadian dollars. Sergio Perez retirement incoming after this GP or after Vegas. I have no source on this, just my guess. So, Joe Saywood, who is a long-term journalist and staple of the F1 paddock, he's been roaming the F1 paddock for like the last 25, 30 years. He is a very reputable journalist, and he has his own kind of like blog that he does, which you do have to pay for, and I highly advise you do. He appears on the Missed Apex podcast every now and then as well, and he's a character, to say the least. Very old school, I think, is the best way to describe him. And he doesn't report on information unless he's got a lot of, unless he's verified that information from reputable sources. And he did report a month ago, I think it was, or in the autumn break, we'll call it, that Sergio Perez will announce his retirement at the Mexico Grand Prix. Now, this is where then Sergio Perez came out and had the gif of Leonardo DiCaprio going, "I ain't effing leaving." So we'll see. But I don't know. Will we see it here? Maybe. I don't know. I still think he has a place in F1 purely because of the amount of money he brings. However, there are now rumours, unsubstantiated rumours, that Carlos Slim, who I've already mentioned is the biggest benefactor of Sergio Perez, is maybe looking to support some younger drivers, i.e. potentially Colapinto or someone else of Mexican descent. I think there's someone else in the junior formulas he's looking to support as well. So I don't think Perez will be in that Red Bull seat for next year. I'd be very, 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 very surprised if he is. But it wouldn't surprise me if we see him maybe back in 2026 if he maintains the support of Carlos Slim. If he loses that support, then we've seen the end of Sergio Perez. There's never been a wet Mexican GP, considering the race has been on the calendar since the 60s. Wow. Well, I mean, I guess it is Southern Hemisphere, so we're kind of reaching there. We're kind of reaching this summer, aren't we? Are we reaching this summer? I don't know. Let's have a look at, where is it? Mexico City, isn't it? Mexico City weather report for this weekend. Yeah, it's bone dry. Damn it. Bone dry. Sorry, guys. No wet Mexico race. I know it's still FP1, but Sonoda running up there. Yeah, Sonoda likes his track. He went well here last year. Went very well here last year. So, hey Colton, good to see you, mate. How about Hulkenberg? Yeah, he's going to do well. I think he's going to do well this year. P5, going well. Obviously on the soft compounds. Yet to see. We saw Russell set a soft compound tyre run earlier on. Verstappen, of course, we know that maybe saving a bit of the engine modes as well. You have to take that into consideration here. With the high altitude, there's less air, there's less cooling. So the drivers or the teams need to be careful about the engine modes and the amount of stress that they're putting on the tyres in these FP1 sessions. So that's why we saw a couple of years ago the Ferrari engines really suffered. Their turbos suffered with the amount of air that was put through their units, and they just lost a lot of horsepower. They sorted that out last year. So yeah, we'll see. No doubt expect them to be strong here again this weekend. Cosimo, yes, not in Argentina, I think. No, but I think he's a benefactor of just South American drivers in general, Ian. I think that's kind of where he wants. I mean, ideally, he'd like to support a Mexican driver, I think. But as I said, unsubstantiated rumours is that he might support Colapinto. Obviously, he's Argentinian, but that is South America. Obviously, Mexico is North American. I get this wrong. I apologise, Mexicans. I got called out on this last weekend. Mexico is North America, not South America. I apologise, even though it is south geographically of the USA. I apologise. But we'll see. I don't know. He's got a lot of money to go around, doesn't he? He's got a lot of money to go around, Carlos Slim, so he can support whatever he wants to support. I'm close to 31k. I am indeed. Oh yeah, thank you for all the subs that have been flying in, guys. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. Dry maybe because it's above the clouds. That is very true, D. That is very true. Oh, Oscar Piastri went very wide into turn 12. So yeah, driver's struggling through that corner. Antonelli didn't crash Lewis's car. Well, he did run over a lot of debris, but he's back out there, which clearly means that he didn't have substantial damage through on the floor. By the way, it's a bit close there between Lawson, Stroll, Magnussen, O'Ward and Drogovic there, isn't it? Getting a bit racy out there. Hey Stuffeyy, will I be streaming F2 and night? No, unfortunately I won't be, Paige. I'd love to stream F2. However, what we get with F1 with this data, we don't get with F2 yet. So maybe in the future, if we get something like this with F2, I will do that in the future. The missus won't be too happy because my whole weekend, she already has to kind of deal with me sacrificing that weekends for F1. If I add F2 to that, we'll see how that goes down. But yeah, at the moment we don't have the same level of data available to us in F2 as we do with F1. So, oh, you mean FP2? Yes, FP2 I will be. Yeah, FP2 I will be. Yes, in a few hours' time. Yeah. Do I think Merck are looking good for this weekend? I mean, they did go well here last year. But we know Merck are very flaky. I can't tell with Merck. I really can't. They could look good in practice, then look absolutely horrible in qualifying, and then look good again on the race on Sunday. Or they could look terrible in practice and then look absolutely brilliant in qualifying, and then look crap on the Sunday. Or they may look crap all weekend and then look really good on Sunday. You don't know what Mercedes you're going to get. It all depends on the track conditions, in my opinion. So, yeah. Buying the F1 cars assembled is, yeah. And true. And the family, Marianne. Yeah, yeah. Well, the little one is too young to talk back to me yet. So I've still got a good few months yet until she can talk back to me. Can Hamilton qualify by 15th? You'd like to think so. Yeah, you'd like to think so this time around. But as I said, who knows? That Mercedes is so flaky at the moment. But what's interesting is how bad the Aston Martin is, eh? They're just so bad. They've clearly just gone, yeah, we're focusing on Adrian Newey joining us next year. Mexico's richest person is Carlos Slim. Yeah, Latin America's biggest mobile telecom firm. Isn't it? Oh, is it Telcom? Something like that? Not Telcent, is it? Telcent's the Chinese gaming company, isn't it? Carlos Slim. I always forget what he looks after. Does anyone want to guess without Googling? You've actually come in at $102 billion. I've come in at $87 billion. I'm sure he won't miss 30, whatever it is, $billion that he's missing there. $15 billion. He's got a bit to spare, isn't it, in the day? What does he own? Telmex. That's it. Telmex. That's what I forgot. He's 84. Wow. Just came in. F2 drivers driving FP1. Yes, they are indeed. Thank you, Reese. Yeah, nearly there. 30,906 subscribers. Much appreciated. Over 570 of you here in the stream. Thank you. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. It's great to see as the checkered flag has gone. It's great to see that, as I said before, we keep getting returning viewers here. I look at my analytics, and what's great is that we're hitting consistent numbers and viewership each week and each session. And it's always great to see that there's a high amount of you who are already subscribed to this channel, which means that we're doing something right, as a lot of you are returning to watch these streams and watch along. So thank you, guys. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button. So, yeah. You only found me last week, Doctor. I know. It's all right, mate. We still have plenty of races left for the remainder of the season. And, of course, then there's next year. So, Telcel. Is it Telcel? I don't know. I looked at it and it says Telmex. Telmex? Maybe it is Telcel. Telmex is... I'm just going from what I've got on Wikipedia. So this place is like your local pub, but F1 orientated. Do I think there? Yes, I do. Moon. Yes, I do. Yeah. I think that is one of those tracks that will be gone once Max leaves F1. So, thanks, Connor. You returned because of my great commentary, and you have a track of what's going on. Yeah, I mean, I love F1. I love F1, and I love chatting to you guys. I mean, the free practice sessions we do keep an eye on, but primarily it's an opportunity for me to have a conversation with you guys and have a back and forth and chat F1. And then, of course, qualifying and the race on Sunday is where we really get into like commentary. So I hope, obviously, you clearly enjoy it, hence you coming back. And yeah, I always give my opinions, I always listen to your opinions. We have a bit of back and forth. I'm always here to be proved wrong as well. That's the thing. If new information comes to light where my initial opinion and assessment is incorrect, I'll accept that and I'll let you guys know. So and I hope I think that's kind of what we do different here compared to like broadcast channels and professional broadcasting channels and other watch-alongs as well. You have unfiltered opinions here, guys. Unfiltered opinions. So, Slim bought a stake in Telmex, Mexico's only phone company. And wow, fair enough. Absolutely balling, isn't he? Is Alex Albon seat at risk? I don't think he's at risk now, Leo. I think it will be if this form continues at the start of next season. Yes. So I don't think Colapinto is going to get that Sauber seat. I think Sauber want to go a different route, either Bortoletto, which I still think is, like, don't get me wrong, he's doing absolutely brilliant, but he's a McLaren driver. Unless you're willing to buy him out of his contract, I don't think McLaren would want to do that. I think they want to have him waiting in the wings. And then, oh, hang on. And yeah, I think Colapinto is going to be there, and the pressure will be on both Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon, because I think James Vowles will know he has a decent driver, a proven driver, ready to step in if need be. And no doubt, while of course he signed Carlos Sainz and he re-signed Alex Albon, no doubt James Vowles is shrewd enough to have clauses in their contracts to protect Williams as well for that eventuality where he can swap them out or break them, you know. It's not always in favour of the driver. I mean, there'll be clauses in there in favour of the driver, but there'll also be plenty of clauses in there in favour of the team as well, because they don't want to be completely stuck with the same driver pairing. So, hey Jimmy, good to see you, mate. Am I on iRacing tonight, Ollie? Probably not. No, I'm now going to go cook dinner. Obviously, with the little one, I've got to probably do my shift of a feed and a nappy change before FP2. I did quickly, when I had a loo break, I quickly nipped to see the missus, and she went, "You've avoided a big one here." I avoided a punami, let's put it that way. No worries, Ian. Good to see you, mate. So yeah, that'll be me within the next couple of hours. Boss Rock on the pits, everyone's going back around the track. Yes, with FP1's finished, Cora. FP1 is finished. So there's a lot wrong with F1 if Colapinto has no drive. I don't think so. The problem with Colapinto is that it's kind of come around at the wrong time for him. On one hand, I mean, you have to look at it though. On one hand, it's come at the wrong time for him, but on the other, he didn't start this season expecting this opportunity where he'd get 9 race weekends in F1. So that's 9 full races and 3 sprint races. And he's taken that opportunity completely by the horns, isn't he? Like, he's just... He has already proven that really, even if he has a slightly subpar remainder of the season, he is basically going to be putting pressure on Sainz and Albon next year. And if they aren't up to scratch, then James Vowles can swap them out. And that he most probably will have a drive in 2026. I think so. I never raced when I was a kid, Moon. No. So my granddad was a racing driver. Not top level. Raced like national, kind of like regional stuff back in the 60s. So he had racing in his blood. My mum has always been very into her cars, getting it from her dad, my granddad. And yeah, I got into F1 through him. He introduced me to F1. I remember going around to his at the weekends, and he had F1 on TV, and I'd watch Damon Hill fight Schumacher and Mika Hakkinen. So I got into F1 kind of in, I think around 6 or 7 years old is really when I got into F1. Like 97, 98, I think, is like my core memories of it. Or my first memories of F1. And yeah, I got into golf and football, but motorsport was too expensive, and it was never something that my mum and my granddad got me into. I just got into my passion of cars and racing through them, watching on TV and just seeing them out on the road and stuff. So thanks, David. Do I think Nico Hulkenberg will ever get on the podium considering he's going to Sauber Audi? No, unfortunately for Nico Hulkenberg, no. Unless Audi, I mean, you think it's never been done in F1 before, I don't think, where a brand new team has come into F1 and they've really hit the ground running, other than Brawn. But then Brawn's a bit kind of different because, other than maybe Brawn, yeah, it's never happened in F1 history before, especially a top team, let's say that. So I'd be very, very surprised. It's going to take time for Audi to get up there. I think they'll be fighting in the mid. They'll be lucky to be fighting in the midfield from the get-go. And yeah, it's not even like they're inheriting a team that's performing well at the moment, is it? So yeah, we'll see. Scarlett's in the 80s got me into it. Nice. Back in the 70s, James Hunt. Oh, what an era. James Hunt, Niki Lauda. Oh, I love the film Rush as well. Love the film Rush. You're in the first of your family to race, drag the entire family into motorsports. Oh, wicked. Yeah, I mean, I do. I love karting. I do wish I had the opportunity when I was younger, but hey ho, it isn't meant to be. I'm so glad I've got sim racing. As I said, sim racing is like my downtime now as well. Of course, I do the content and stuff, but I don't even sit back and play. I've always been a gamer. I've always been like Call of Duty, Battlefield, first-person shooters, single-player games, The Witcher, and all this stuff. Like, I've always been a gamer growing up, and I still am. However, I don't ever really just sit back now and play a single-player game, like a story-driven game, because I always go, I play it for 10 minutes and I'm like, okay, I want to go do a race. Like, just racing is kind of, just overtaken my life, really. It used to be golf and now it's racing. Tinfoil hat comment, Lando times Verstappen incident and the outcome makes it feel like decisions were made to make the season be more thrilling to keep fans excited. I don't think so, because then because the decision going in Verstappen's favour means that there's less likely an opportunity of there being a championship decider at the end of the season. So I think if the decision, you could maybe make that argument if it went to Lando's favour, but I don't think so. But it still could change. The decision could still go in Lando's favour. We'll hear the appeal soon. Well, the appeal is about to happen. The hearing is about to happen soon. It's happening not long after FP1, and then we should hopefully have an answer. And no doubt there'll be some leaks and so forth that come out between now and FP2 that hopefully we can discuss. If Nico gets another contract with Racing Point now, Aston Martin, he'll get loads of podiums. And just no, he won't be with Aston. No, Nico Hulkenberg's already what, 34, 35 this year, I think he is. So no, he won't be getting an opportunity in another team, in my opinion, outside of Audi. And my missus me, bit of a random question at Bumble. Yeah, we met on a dating app, and here we are. 6 years later. Did I see Palmer's analysis? I did actually see Palmer's analysis on it. I think Palmer's always very, very good at his analysis. And yeah, he interestingly brought up what we all knew and solidified that Max did lift off the brakes as he showed the telemetry of Max Verstappen and Lando Norris through that corner. And he did thankfully make the point that Max run off track himself in his defense of Lando Norris, which is incorrect. So yeah, thankfully he did flag that. Not many pundits have, other than Jenson Button. Anthony Davison failed to mention it. Martin Brundle was still failed to mention it. Yeah, a lot of them have failed to bring that up. Don't know what this F1 film is going to be like with the friends. Can't remember their names. Don't follow. Yeah, Brad Pitt. It looks okay. The problem is, as an F1 fan and being so heavily invested into F1, is that I'm going to watch that film and I'm just going to be nitpicking it throughout, which is probably going to remove the enjoyment, the viewing enjoyment of it for me. So I'm going to have to try my best to just not nitpick it. But I know I'm not going to be able to resist. I know I'm not going to be able to resist, unfortunately. So, but it does look, cinematography-wise, it looks amazing because it's filmed similarly to how Top Gun is, because I think it's the same. Is it Jerry Bruckheimer? I think Jerry Bruckheimer, who filmed Top Gun. It's the same. It's the same. Yeah, it's the same director as Top Gun. Yeah, it is. Yeah, Jerry Bruckheimer. He's bloody 81 years old. Wow, he's old. I'm McLaren saying that Lando was defending now. New angle for appeal. We don't know, Dylan. We don't know. It's only rumour at the moment. There is supposedly new information. So, unfortunately, with an appeal, with the stewards, you can't just state they applied the rules incorrectly. In my opinion, I don't think you can do that, or my understanding. You have to provide new evidence that wasn't available to the stewards at the time. Which is a bit of a cop-out, really. It's to ensure that not everyone just willy-nilly appeals every stewarding decision. But they are stating that there is something that the stewards didn't have information to, or were privy to at the time, that meant their decision was flawed. So we'll see. It's like you with historical costumes in films. Oh, I bet that's really annoying. So... Is it only coming out on Apple TV? Isn't it coming out in cinema, though, Reese? Isn't it coming out to theatres? Yeah, you don't have the cool POV where it goes into F1 through Drive to Survive, and I knew nothing about this. Yeah, Drive to Survive, the first couple of seasons was brilliant. And then after that, they started to tamper around with radio messages, the sounds of the cut. Do you know what was really the most frustrating thing for me out of everything in Drive to Survive? Is when they started playing around with the car noises. So if you watch back, this last season was better, still a bit flawed, but better, where they would just like, so they'd be down a main straight, and you'd hear the engine noise going up through the gears, like they've just got on full throttle out of a corner, and it's like they're not shifting up through the gears. What are you doing? Like, the sound was completely out of sync. And it just really, really threw me off, and was just so like annoying. And of course, you knew that they were playing around with the radio messages and so forth. Whereas for me, the first two seasons were best, chronological order throughout the season. And yeah, the editing was like, it was more so about just gave you a proper insight to what happens off track at race weekends and away from circuits, rather than the dramatisation of it that happens in later seasons. So. Warwick and Connolly never do wrong. That's my problem, Marianne. Yeah, is that they're going to, even if there's new evidence presented, they're just going to go, no, no, we didn't do anything wrong. So I think that's why people don't have any faith in McLaren getting their appeal accepted. But I'm ending the poll, by the way. I'm so surprised that 67% of you like the stadium section at Mexico. Now I'm questioning the majority of your guys' tastes. Film was made by Apple TV but released in theatres. Okay, fairs. Oh, my tab just crashed apparently. It comes out in pictures in North America. Yeah, I think it comes out in pictures here in the UK as well. But anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. I need to go have some dinner. And we will be live again in a few hours' time. So practice starts at 11 o'clock UK time, which is 2 and a bit out. So I'm basically going to be live 2 hours from now. So I'll go live 15 minutes before the session starts, as we always do for practice. So yeah, have a lovely couple of hours, wherever you are in the world, or if it's morning, afternoon, dinner time for you. Have a couple of hours, go grab yourself some food. Thank you, Marianne. And yeah, we'll catch you in a couple of hours. I'm gonna go set that stream up now, and we'll see you then. Thanks, guys. Bye.